Morning, everyone. Meteorologist Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Hour streaming studio. Hope everyone is having a nice Thursday morning. I had some rain move through the area late last night into the overnight hours, mainly across extreme southern Nebraska. I think for the most part, though, we should be mainly dry today. In fact, I think it's going to be a pretty nice day across much of the state. Certainly for mid-July standards, we have a much cooler, sort of comfortable Canadian air mass kind of settling into the area. So today, in terms of some cooler temperatures, drier dew points, it's about as nice as it's going to be, as we'll slowly see things kind of get a little bit more summer-like as we head Friday and into the weekend, with some pretty hot conditions look like they're going to be heading our way as we head into the week next week. So it is Thursday, though, so that means we're going to start off with the latest drought monitor. Again, that was released early this morning. This is a look at what the drought monitor looked like a month ago, and again, you can see while it had been improving in some spots, we still had most of the state covered in some sort of drought conditions. And if we move forward, kind of what the drought monitor looked like last week, we had seen some improvements. Some areas of the state, especially in the Northeast, seeing drought improve to the point where we weren't under any drought conditions. Now, at the latest drought monitor that was released this morning, even more improvement. So again, this is a look at the latest drought monitor released about an hour and a half ago. And again, you can see a good chunk of almost all of northeastern Nebraska now drought-free. Still have some areas of drought in southeastern, south central, and then across the western half of the state. But overall, again, we've seen some pretty significant improvements over the last several weeks in those drought conditions. Again, some repeated rains, some heavy rains in some areas have led to that reduction in drought. Now, we still need more. We're running close to what we should be at here in Lincoln for the month of July, but a little bit below average for the season and certainly well below average for the year as a whole. But again, certainly some significant improvements from last week to this week. If you look at the change map, these areas in the lighter green improved sort of one category. The darker green actually improved two categories, which we had some spots there in north central Nebraska actually improved two categories. We did have just some very small areas that drought did get a little bit worse, and that was in extreme southeastern parts of the state. Parts of Gage County, just points to our south, did see drought get just a little bit worse, but for the most part, it was mainly good news with the latest drought monitor. So if you look at the year-long sort of time series of drought here in Nebraska, again dating back to last July, again you can see where we were last July, less than a quarter of the state under any sort of drought conditions, and we're not there yet, but we do have now about a third of the state that is drought-free, about a third of the state sort of under abnormally dry conditions, about 30% of the state under some sort of moderate drought, and that severe drought percentage, which peaked kind of back in June, maybe late May, early June, again, it's down to about 10%, which at its peak was about probably close to 60%. So again, it's seen a pretty significant reduction in those areas of severe drought. No more extreme drought across the state. So again, overall, it's been mainly good news for us over the course of the last several weeks. Again, all that being said, we could still use some additional moisture, especially here in Lincoln. In fact, if you look at the last 12 months, rolling 12 months, our departure from normal for our precipitation, we've only had 2 months that have seen above average precipitation. That's so far this month, which we're about 3/4 of an inch above average. And then if you go back to last fall, in November, we were about 2.5 inches above average. We haven't had any months that have been, I would say, really, really below average. May and June, it was a little dry, but we still had some moisture, so we've had some timely rains that have kind of held things in check, at least for us here in Lincoln and Lancaster County. But again, you can see for the last 12 months, it's certainly been drier than what we'd like to see. Almost 9 inches below normal, kind of year 12-month rolling sort of departure from normal for us here in the capital city. And again, we do have some more rain chances as we head into this weekend. If we did not see any more rain for the rest of July, we would finish below normal with what we have. And so hopefully we can continue to keep up with at least some additional chances for moisture as we head Friday into the weekend, and some low-end chances as we head into the week next week. We did see some moisture, again, like I mentioned, late last night into the overnight hours, mainly in extreme southeastern parts of the state. But again, those are the areas that saw drought get a little bit worse with this latest drought monitor. Again, this rain won't be reflected in the drought monitor until we get the new one next week. That cutoff is again on Tuesday. So again, any rain that we got really late Tuesday into the overnight hours Wednesday, and then again late last night into very early this morning, not reflected in that drought monitor. But Hebron picking up about an inch of moisture, Falls City about 9/10, Beatrice about a quarter of an inch. Here in the capital city, we didn't see anything from those storms last night. They stayed just to our south. Parts of southern Lancaster County picked up a little bit of moisture, but again, some good moisture falling in those areas. And again, we did have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings, but for the most part, we avoided any really intense thunderstorms and intense weather last night. So again, kind of good vibes when it comes to the drought monitor. Seeing some moisture, seeing some improvement, and then again, at least last night, seeing some moisture where we need it, falling with those areas that do still have some of those drought conditions. So all good things. So here in Lincoln, if we look at the Lincoln Weather Almanac from yesterday, again, it was a cooler day, 81 for a high yesterday. Again, about 10 degrees below average. 66 was about where we should be. And again, officially yesterday, we had 72 hundredths. That was from storms that arrived late Tuesday night into the early part of the overnight hour. So again, for the month, we were at about 2.5 inches for the month, which again is about 3/4 of an inch above average. Through the first half of July. For the year, again, we're still well short of where we need to be, less than 12 inches of moisture so far year to date, which again is just over 5 inches below normal for the first half of the year. So would like to see that reverse that trend and see us put a nice dent in those drought conditions. So your weather headlines for today, again, it's going to be a really, really nice day. Cool and comfortable conditions out there for our Thursday. Temperatures are going to be on the cooler side. We're going to see comfortable dew points. So again, kind of soak it up, soak it in, because not many days that you see in mid-July where temperatures only reach the 70s with those comfortable dew points. Rain chances are going to return this weekend. It's going to be scattered. It's not looking at a washout by any means, but again, if you have any outdoor plans this weekend, we'll keep an eye on the forecast. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to see more summer-like conditions as we head into the week next week. Temperatures back to the mid, maybe even upper 90s. Those humid conditions returning as we head into the week next week. A cool morning this morning, even dropping down into the 40s for Valentine. They dropped down to 47 degrees this morning, but it was 50s to low 60s for most of us early this morning, so a pretty comfortable start to our Thursday. 61 low here at the Lincoln Airport, 60 in Grand Island, 58 in North Platte on the Tempest weather stations across town. Again, it was mainly in the lower 60s, and current conditions out there, again, have a little bit of cloud cover, but overall things are pretty comfortable and pretty quiet. Just past 9 o'clock at 66 at the airport, 65 here at the 1011 studios, light northeast wind at around 10 to 15 miles an hour, and you can see those dew point temperatures pretty comfortable into the middle 50s. Temperatures on the Tempest stations across town, again, generally in the mid 60s out there across the state, warming up a few degrees, anywhere from the mid upper 50s to the lower to middle 60s across the state, and those dew point temperatures, again, very comfortable, low 50s to low 60s for those numbers, and again, they should remain comfortable through the day today, but will be ticking back up as we head into the weekend. Winds out of the east and kind of northeast for the eastern half of the state, a little bit more of a southeasterly wind as you head across the western sections of the state. I think overall we'll look for generally an easterly or northeasterly wind as we head through most of the day today. High pressure off to our north will eventually turn that wind to east and southeast as we head into the day on your Friday. Satellite radar picture, dry, again, a little bit of cloud cover out there, but things are pretty quiet. A little bit busier as you head just to our south. Again, that line of storms that we had last night kind of settled south into parts of Kansas. So again, areas in northern Kansas, KC metro area, seeing a lot of rain and thunderstorms early this morning, and we can see the remnants of that line pushing across parts of southeastern Kansas into parts of southwestern Missouri. Not a lot of severe weather with it right now, but again, they've had a lot of moisture. And again, national view, got that line of showers. Also have some showers and a disturbance in the Gulf right now that, again, we're keeping our eye on for any tropical development. Haven't had any haven't had a real busy necessarily start to the hurricane season, tropical season, but we are keeping our eyes on that sort of disorganized system right now across parts of the Gulf. If you look at the weather alerts, again, we're going to see some warm conditions, especially off to our south and to our east. Heat advisories and extreme heat warnings in place for parts of Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky. You have flood watches in place for parts of Kentucky into West Virginia. More heat advisories up along the eastern seaboard for the major metro areas, D.C., New York, up into the northeast. have some red flag and high fire conditions across parts of Wyoming into the Pacific Northwest. I do have a dense fog advisory there for extreme southwestern Nebraska, but overall I think our weather is going to be pretty quiet as we head through the day today. So we check out Skycast. Again, look for a mix of sun and clouds as we head through our Thursday, but we should be staying dry across the state as we head through the day on Thursday. Any thunderstorm activity likely is going to remain well to our south as we head through the day today. So again, through this evening, quiet conditions should be a nice evening for us. And then into the day on Friday, again, we'll start to see a chance for some scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms. We'll see a chance early Friday morning, I think, for a little bit of activity kind of drifting through the area. Again, expected to be pretty isolated to fairly scattered. And then as we head Friday afternoon into Friday evening, it's going to be across the northern tier of the state. Little weak disturbance moving through the area could bring in some showers, isolated thunderstorms. Some of those could be on the strong to severe side. That activity could continue late Friday and into early on Saturday. And again, here in Lincoln, I think that's when we see our best chance for any thunderstorm activity would likely be late Friday night into early on Saturday morning. And then on Saturday, again, kind of a mix of sun and clouds. And we'll see a chance, I think, throughout the day, kind of off and on for maybe an isolated to scattered shower or thunderstorm. Most areas, though, likely would stay dry as we head into the day on Saturday. In fact, again, you look at the 3-day precipitation potential taking us into the weekend. We're not looking at much in the way of any potential moisture. Again, generally less than a half an inch across the state, and the best chance for some heavier, quote-unquote, heavier precipitation would likely be across the northern tier of the state. You look at the severe weather outlook for the day today, marginal risk, but it is down well to our south, and then there is a marginal and slight risk off to our north across parts of the Dakotas and into eastern Montana. For the day tomorrow, we do have a marginal risk across the northern tier of the state. Large hail damaging winds would be our primary threats. Isolated tornado can't be ruled out, especially I think in the northeastern corner of the state, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then for the day on Saturday, again, do still have a marginal risk that covers most of the state, so again, can't rule out an isolated strong to severe thunderstorm. So if we zoom in, take a closer look, statewide view, I think as we head through the day today, partly cloudy skies kind of for the balance of the day today, but dry conditions, light winds, cool temperatures, comfortable dew points. All in all, I think it's going to be a pretty nice day. Late tonight and into the overnight hours, again, could see maybe a spotty shower, isolated storm in parts of southeastern Nebraska. And then as we head late afternoon into the evening, I think that's when we could see maybe a few thunderstorms in the northern and northeastern tier of the state. But again, I think most areas likely stay dry into Saturday morning. Again, we'll also hold on to at least that small chance for some showers, isolated thunderstorms across the eastern part of the state. And then through the day on Saturday, I think we're seeing mostly to partly sunny skies. Again, it's going to be warmer. It's going to be more humid. And again, some scattered showers, thunderstorms possible through the day. I think best chance on Saturday probably in western and southwestern Nebraska, but we'll keep an eye on that chance for us here in Lincoln and eastern sections of the state. So high temperatures today, awfully comfortable for us. We're generally in the 70s. A few spots maybe out in the far west into the 80s today. Again, these numbers about 10 to 15 degrees below normal for this time of year. So again, cool and comfortable. Those dew points will be in the 50s to maybe right around 60 degrees, so fairly dry out there, lower relative humidities, and fairly light winds. So again, all in all, pretty nice day for us. Low temperatures tonight, not quite as cool as they were this morning. Low to mid 60s though, not too bad. But then temperatures begin to moderate a little bit as we head Friday into the weekend. So Friday, eastern half of the state, we're looking at low to mid 80s with upper 80s and low 90s in the western half of the state. Low temperatures to start the weekend Saturday morning, mid to upper 60s to right around 70 degrees. Saturday, low 80s to low 90s from north to south, including 91 here in Lincoln, upper 80s for the Tri-Cities, mid 90s maybe in southwestern Nebraska. Sunday morning, again, mid to upper 60s, low 70s. Sunday afternoon, again, it's anywhere from the low 80s to the low 90s across the state. Coolest readings in the northeastern corner of the state. To start the work week next week on Monday, mid to upper 60s, low 70s, and then temperatures really begin to kind of climb for most as we head into the week next week. Upper 80s to low to mid 90s across the state for the day on your Monday, and again, even climbing higher than that from there. Tuesday, Wednesday, we're looking at highs 96 and 97 degrees here in the capital city. Very low end chances for rain next week. Upper level ridge begins to kind of build into the area. That's going to kind of make things hot and kind of turn things dry just a little bit, so we'll keep an eye. But looks like low end rain chances right now as we head into the week next week, I think are better, not necessarily best, or not necessarily all that great, but our better rain chances will come Friday into the weekend with those temperatures in the mid to upper 80s to right around 90 degrees. Today, dry, cool, and comfortable with those highs in the 70s, and you can see that 10-day forecast today really sticks out with those highs in the 70s. Otherwise, it's back into the 80s and 90s really for the rest of the 10-day period. So again, a little bit more July-like for us as we head over the weekend and through the week next week and into the following weekend. Dew point temperatures, again, they're fairly comfortable today, but they will be climbing back into the 60s to, again, even low 70s as we head Friday into the weekend, basically staying there, it looks like, through much of the week next week. Looks like, again, with a frontal system moving our way late next week, that could drop our dew points just a little bit, so we'll keep an eye on that. Rain chances, again, highest today in extreme southeastern Nebraska, but otherwise most areas are dry. And then as we'll head into the weekend, we'll look for at least some low-end chances for rain, and then we'll keep at least a low-end chance for rain in the forecast through the week next week, but it looks like, again, hot and dry conditions for the most part going to be heading our way. 8 to 14-day temperature outlook taking us now almost through the end of July 24th through July 30th. Very good odds at seeing those above-average temperatures continuing, which, again, we kind of saw reflected there in that 10-day forecast. And then the precipitation outlook, again, favors below normal precipitation for parts of southern Nebraska, above average precipitation for kind of parts of northeastern Nebraska. So, again, we'll keep an eye on all of that. But today looks very cool, looks very comfortable. Again, as I said, hope everyone gets out and kind of enjoys and takes advantage of the nicer weather because after today, again, things start to get a little bit warm again, and certainly trending hot then as we head into the week next week. So appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching as always. Hope everyone has a nice Thursday. Until next time, we'll see you later.